Hey, welcome to my channel. This video is a VOD review I did with one of my students. If you would like to get a VOD review for free, just go into the description of this video so we can get one started. Any rank, any role, I would love to help. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to a VOD review I'm doing for this KATARINA. Right now, we are going to be mostly, at least in this video, we're going to be talking mostly about the matchup between KATARINA and Yasuo, and also talking about how we can play from behind, what we do against a losing matchup, and also some combo micro that I want to talk about because I played KATARINA for a very long time and I know what her most consistent combos are and what combos you should be using dependent on the situation. First things first, we're going to be talking about this Yasuo matchup. Yasuo is probably one of the worst matchups for KATARINA because Yasuo is really good at countering assassins because of his passive, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. What do we do for a matchup that we lose? How can we help us win a matchup, or at least have a easier time in the laning phase? You took second win in this game, which is not terrible, but it's definitely not the best rune versus a Yasuo. So we would take second win generally when we have a ranged matchup where we're versing like a Syndra or maybe a Veigar, but maybe we won't even be taking second win in those matchups. But overall, we take second win when we have a ranged matchup that we're losing because they will most likely be hitting us more. If they're hitting us more, second win will probably be more helpful. Now, for stuff like Yasuo is a melee character, so it's going to be a lot harder for him to hit us, and we probably won't be getting as much as healing. So it'd be better if we just take bone plating, because those first 3 attacks Yasuo does on us will be negated, and maybe that can even help us in fighting him. Bone plating is really good at decreasing the amount of damage that we take, and then we only take trades when we have bone plating up. It's not the best time to go in, but there's still more things we want when versing this matchup. But honestly, when we're versing Yasuo, there's basically no times that we can want to go in, but it's very specific when we want to go in. But now let's talk about why his passive is really good at countering assassins. Yasuo's passive, the way it works is he has this bar at the bottom of his health bar, and this bar basically indicates if he has his shield or not. And what his shield is when moving he gains flow, and when he has maximum flow he will gain a shield whenever he takes damage from a champion or monster. So when we first start attacking Yasuo, he will have a shield. And that's why he's so good against assassins. Assassins are really bursty, and once they start attacking someone, they will burst all their damage at once. And since he has a shield, as soon as their burst starts, he will most likely negate all of the damage. And we will see that when that happens. We will see in this first instance that we're queuing this Yasuo, and it just doesn't do anything because of how easy it is for Yasuo to counter assassins. Once this bar is up, it basically negates all the damage that you do to him, and it makes any trade that you go for him basically losing. And it's no point in order to basically trade with your Q, and there's no point in trading him at all because when he has the flow, it's almost impossible. This would be a better time to go in because he doesn't have flow, but again, we have to still deal with the minions, and that can be a problem. But for the most part, let's talk about the things that need to happen for us to ever go in. So there are a lot of things that we need to keep track of in order to even go in on these sauce. So there's so much that we need to figure out that we need to have happened before we go in. Number 1 is that his passive shield is down. His passive is down. That's the first thing. If his passive is down, that means he can't block any of the damage that we do to him. Number 2 is that his W is down. His W is the wind wall, and when he places this wind wall, our Q gets blocked, our ultimate gets blocked, and basically all of our damage gets blocked. So we can't really go in when he has his W either. So you can see that all this stuff is going to start piling up. The third thing that we don't want to have happen when we go in is that he doesn't have his Q3. So his Q3 is when he has that wind around him, when he gets that wind, and he's able to shoot a tornado at us. Whenever he has this Q3, we don't want to go in because this will most likely make him win the matchup. And I mean, there's so much more, like minion advantage, there is health advantage. There's just so many things that can make us lose this matchup where there's no point in fighting this guy. This is such a losing matchup. There is no point in order to try to CS to your best of your abilities, and hopefully your jungler will come in to save you. That is kind of what you have to do in this matchup, is just let your jungler come in and help you. And also, there's other things that can help us make this matchup better, which was, we were talking about before, changing runes to bone plating. But there's other things. One thing is just giving prio. Let him push into you. There's nothing we can do about it. Play safe in lane as best as you can. We just want to keep as much HP as possible in order to go for a fight later on. That's kind of our job. We just want to keep as much HP, so if something happens in the jungle, like if something happens on top side or something happens on bot side, we have enough HP and enough damage in order to actually do something. Because if we start taking damage in lane, that means we can't even go anywhere in the first place. Next is dropping waves for roams. So KATARINA is a really good skirmisher. Assassins are really good at skirmishes, and skirmishes are stuff like 2v2s, 1v2s, 3v2s, or like 3v3s. They're your small little fights that happen really quickly. And the reason why assassins are really good at that is because when one character dies, so let's say there's two characters here, when one character dies, it is so much easier to fight a 1v2 after that, because an assassin will take out this target really quickly. You'll still have full HP. The second person will still have full HP as well. And then it becomes a 2v1 with a very easy fight. So, and also KATARINA has resets, which make it even better for her. That makes it 100 times better for her. So we can actually, if we ever want to, we can start dropping waves. So if a wave is pushing into you and Yasuo goes for a roam, we can either match his roam, drop a wave and match his roam, or we can drop a wave and then go to a different side of the map to help them. Because, as we said before, there's no reason to fight Yasuo. We're most likely going to lose every single time. So let's try to fight fights with the rest of our team, because they can help us target this Yasuo and make this Yasuo's life worse. Because we're better at skirmishing than Yasuo. Yasuo is a pretty okay skirmisher, but in all contexts, KATARINA is a better skirmisher than Yasuo, but he has better 1v1, we have better 2v2s and 3v2s, and just better team fight capabilities than a Yasuo. Now, there's other things that we can also do, which is grabbing TP. In a losing matchup, Ignite is never going to do anything for us. So why don't we just grab TP in order to be around the map more? So whenever Yasuo pushes in a wave, we actually don't have to drop a wave. We can push the wave back into it, fast push him, and then TP wherever he goes. So if he goes bot side, TP down there and maybe help. Or we can do the same thing that we did before, maybe cross map the play and TP up in the top side. So we could do things to make our life a little bit better when we have losing matchups and actually be able to play the game. Being in mid lane is so useless for us because we just won't win. We can't win this and we'll just be pushed in 24/7. So let's try to get a lead somewhere else, you know? One last thing is warding in the middle of the lane. There are wards that we can do to make, if we ward straight down in the middle of the lane, this ward will tell us exactly where Yasuo is going whenever he wants to roam. Because if he stays in lane, there's no reason for Yasuo to stay in lane if you're playing passive like this. Because if he stays in lane, we get free farm and we just don't have to do anything. This is actually pretty winning for us. Now, if Yasuo wants to do a better play, he should start roaming because he has wave prio, meaning he can go anywhere he wants. Now, this ward will tell us exactly where he's going, so we can ping our top side, we can ping our bot side, telling them what is happening, where Yasuo is going, and then maybe we can push in a wave and then match him. Match that roam, or again, cross map it in on another side of the map. Now, that is kind of a lot of things that we can do to help our matchup, and we're going to see even more why Yasuo is a really bad matchup for KATARINA, or just assassins in general. We're going to see that he is full health here, and you're going to be basically doing no damage. You're going to do no damage because of his passive. So there's one of his shields. Yasuo gets another shield. He gets all of his flow back when he ults. So now he gets another shield. You're half HP. At the end of this fight, you're dead. Yasuo is like full HP still. Now you can see how Yasuo is such a bad matchup for you. And it's never an option to fight him. It is almost, there's so many things that need to happen for us to be able to go in on Yasuo, and it's such a losing matchup. So let's do other things to make our matchup even better, like roaming, like giving him prio, playing safe in lane, dropping waves for roams, grab TP, warding in the middle lane to see exactly where he's going. And I will also give this all into a list for you so you can remember them. And I'll also, this is a video so you can go back in time to see what I'm talking about. I want to talk about something later on, is how do we play from behind in the mid game, because we're already behind in the early game and there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to play the same thing, play mid lane, give him prio, back off whenever we have to. But how do we play the mid game? Because that is when we can actually start doing things and maybe even start getting kills. So when we're in the mid game, our job as a person who's behind in like the mid lane, our job is to clear the wave in our quadrant. So this is our quadrant. Whenever a minion wave comes into this quadrant, it'll be pushing into our tower, and someone needs to stop this, because if no one stops this minion wave, we will lose all of it under the turret. So someone needs to come here. Now we also need to push it all the way past this mark. If we don't push this wave past this mark, the waves will keep coming and still eventually reach your tower. So the goal is to pass this mark and push the wave in. And the reason for that is once this point is passed on the wave, once that place is passed, like the middle mark is passed, the wave will now start pushing into them. And now someone else needs to come on their side to take those minions, because again, if no one takes those minions, they will lose all of those minions to the tower. Now that's what we want. That's what we want to do so we don't lose anything. So we're going to farm our quadrant. Once we push past the middle, we're not going to be doing split pushing because we're already behind. Our split push won't matter. So let's do something that will make our team have a better chance of winning a fight. Let us find the best player on our team that's doing the best right now and follow them like crazy. But we need to make sure that our quadrant is clear before we do that. Clear our quadrant and then go towards the player that is doing really good. And that is the Jinx. So we are following this Jinx like a rat. We're just following him like a dog. We need to follow him and see if we can play around him, because he's the only one on our team that's actually doing anything. That is all I saw from this VOD review, but we will be talking a little bit about your combos, because there are certain points in the game where we're comboing, we're doing a combo off of someone, and we just do probably one of the worst combos that we could have done against a player. And I want to talk about what the most common combos that Katarina has, and what is generally the best combos in most situations. So the combo that you did here was Q to an EW, and then you don't E again, but you just ult, and then you drop your W, and then your W doesn't do anything, your second E doesn't do anything, and now we're just pretty much dead. And there's a better combo that we can do there rather than a QE, and we're going to talk about that. So first things first, I just want to talk a little bit about what you can do to get some extra little damage out of Katarina that most people miss. And it's Katarina's autos. People don't really, people forget that Katarina is still a melee character, and you can still do damage while you auto. So because you have a lot of free time in between abilities, because you can do E, W, and then you're still autoing while I'm doing all of this. You can auto while you do all of this, and that's just that bit of extra damage. You can see that it can really stack up, because if I just do everything and not even auto, you can see I do 2,415. But if I do everything with autos, it's just slower though. But that's what you do mostly in the early game, where you try to weave autos in between your attacks. So you would do stuff like this. I'm autoing constantly while I'm doing this because I know I can get that extra little bit of damage. Let's go into the combos. So there's 3 main combos that Katarina has that kind of is used differently based on what you want to do. So there is the fastest and the burstiest combo. That's what we're going to go over first. It is E, W, Q, R, and then E afterwards if they try to escape, or if you just want to burst down the target really quick. This is the fastest combo that Katarina has, because, and also it stops people from escaping, because after you use your Q, it bounces right behind them, and if they walk that direction, you can just E onto them and then proc the dagger. So this is the fastest and the most DPS that you can get out of Katarina. So it's just this. And that's all. That's it. That was the whole thing. 889 DPS. And you're going to see that the ones that we're going to talk about further on is going to be slower, but it allows you to do more things. There's different types of combos for different situations. I really like EWQR. This is the combo that I really like. This next combo is slower, but it allows us to chase further if it ever happens. And it's just E, W, R, Q, E. This just allows us to chase a little bit further than we did before, because our Q is still up, and if they ever leave our ult range, we can Q and maybe be able to catch up to them. So it's just EWR, and then if they're running away, we Q and E, and then that's when we can get that extra bit of damage. But you can see how the DPS already drops by a lot, because we're not doing the very fast bursty combo that we had before. And now we have the combo that you've been using the most, which was Q, E, W, E, R, E. Now, this combo is not like terrible, but it's one of the slowest combos, but it allows you to move around a lot more, because we have a lot more ease with this combo. So we can actually hop from one person to another. That's why this combo is really good for that. So we can transfer who we want to target in the middle of it. So we can go Q, E, transfer to this guy, and then do all our damage on him. So there, and it has even more chaseability if we want to even go further. I want you to practice a lot of EWQR, because that is the biggest burst damage, the fastest DPS, the most DPS, the fastest it can be, and it stops escapes as well if they don't know how Katarina works. So you teleport right in front of them, and then you do your whole combo, which is E, W, Q, R, E. Or don't use the E for if you don't want that, if they're just still in your ult, you know. So it's just all this, all at once, as fast as you possibly can, and try to get a high DPS number. I did it pretty terribly, so I didn't get a good DPS. Try to really get these combos in your head and see how you can use these combos in different ways. So the EWQRE is the fastest and the most burstiest combo that Katarina has, and it helps stop escapes because there is a dagger after you do all of that. There's this dagger, and you're R-ing right here, so you can always keep chasing if they get away from that certain direction. And then you have a slower combo, but this one, and also a little bit less DPS, but this one still allows you to keep chasing if you ever need to. It's just a EWR, and then Q if they run away, and then we can keep chasing, you know? But then the combo that you've been doing the most, where you start off with your Q, this is the slowest one that you have, but it allows you to move more around because you have more ease. We can move more around because of it. I kind of screwed it up because I'm terrible, but because I haven't played Katarina in a very long time. But you saw from before where we can just really go around the map a lot more and do more damage in certain places. And I don't even have to ult here. I can teleport to this guy and then move to this guy to ult, you know? But, yep. Those are the combos I feel like you should really pay attention to and realize which combo you should use. Do you want to be fast? Do you want to have a little bit slower, but you're able to chase further? Or do you just want to be able to zip around the fight a lot more because you have so much more ease? That's all I have for this Katarina VOD review. If you have any more questions about this, you can always come to ask me. I will be sending you a survey as well. You don't have to fill it out if you don't want to, but I really appreciate it if you did. But I hope this helped, and make sure you start doing these combos, and also understand your matchups and what you can do. Yasuo is just probably one of the worst matchups that Katarina has. But thank you for this opportunity, and I hope we can actually get into a session together and we can talk about this even more. Let's talk about the things that need to happen for us to ever go in. So there are a lot of things that we